extension was discussed both at a committee level and at the board, and ultimately the league office was tasked by our board with doing an in-depth analysis.
Fans of the WNBA, there is a significant development involving Adam Silver, Caitlin Clark, and the league. Silver has finally addressed the matter and clarified his stance following the most recent action concerning Clark and the New York Liberty. What precisely transpired, then, and why is Adam Silver's most recent choice garnering so much interest in the WNBA? Let's go right into today's video and dissect everything. Unexpectedly, professional basketball has undergone a radical transformation. Everyone has been talking about the same name for months. The most powerful person in the sport was preparing a far more calculated move behind the scenes. Adam Silver has officially taken charge, and his recent decision about Caitlin Clark has actually shook the league's front offices while everyone else was focused on statistics and shooting percentages. For many years, the WNBA faced limitations and a slow growth attitude. But when Silver decided to see the league as the primary force behind the NBA's future rather than as a side project, that era came to an end. The painful truth of this choice goes beyond jersey sales and marketing. Please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel if you enjoy the content. It may surprise you to learn that almost 73% of visitors have not yet subscribed. Even though it only takes a second and is free, it means the world to us. Have you already subscribed? Fantastic! I sincerely appreciate your help. Let's return to the video now. There has been a significant reorganization of the game's governance, and not everyone is happy with the new arrangement. The veterans who have spent decades building this league feel insulted by the sudden shift in emphasis. However, the numbers are correct from a business perspective. Silver concluded that there was more to the Caitlin Clark phenomenon than just a fad. It was a billion-dollar possibility, thus a harsh level of protection was required. This was more than just a suggestion or a gentle jab at the WNBA's leadership. This rule modifies the advertising, officiating, and even transportation of the game. Silver left the other players to figure out their place in this new world order, choosing tradition over enormous financial gain. When Clark took the court for the first time as a professional, everyone expected a learning curve. But nobody could have predicted the level of hostility that seemed to follow her every place. The "welcome to the league" moments started to feel less like competitiveness and more like a targeted assault. From shoulders in the middle of the court to obvious fouls that looked like football tackles. The league management now had to make a choice that would determine how the sport would develop over the next 10 years. After seeing the biggest player in the league get knocked down game after game, Silver reportedly came to the conclusion that the let-them-play mentality was bad for business. This terrible decision effectively targeted any veteran who tried to play enforcer against the rookie phenomenon. There is a significant gap in the locker rooms because many players believe that the rules are being modified on the spot to protect one person. But it's evident from the ratings why this choice was taken. Compared to regular contests, Clark's games are watched by 10 times as many people. Furthermore, the league cannot afford for a disgruntled veteran to keep their golden ticket on the bench because of an injury. This protectionist approach has fundamentally altered the game's flow. It is now more perimeter-focused, speedier, and scores more. That's precisely how basketball is played. For years, Silver has been growing in the NBA. Many supporters still don't fully forgive the league for the stress that reached a breaking point during the Olympic selection process. She was placed beneath more experienced members of the hierarchy, which at first appearance seemed to be a basketball move. However, industry insiders have summed up a much harsher and more deliberate explanation for her absence. Rumor had it that the league office, greatly influenced by NBA counsel, wanted her to remain at home. Why would they want their most talented star to stay out of the global spotlight? The answer is simple: total command and fatigue control. By keeping her in the United States, the WNBA ensured that she wouldn't burn out before the season's most lucrative stretch and had exclusive access to her tail. It was a calculated wager that prioritized the league's financial prosperity over the growth of each player's international reputation. This move shocked the league since it showed that the decision-makers weren't interested in Clark's natural progression. They want to maximize every moment of her time in order to take advantage of the league's new multi-billion-dollar TV deal. The instant outcry left fans feeling duped, but the commercial result was a revitalized, eager superstar who returned to the court and continued to break all viewership records. In relation to that TV deal, The scale of the new $2.2 billion agreement has significantly changed the power dynamics between the NBA and WNBA. The WNBA was seen for many years as a league that regularly required subsidies to break even. However, due to the Clark effect, Silver used the rookie statistics as the primary negotiating leverage with Disney, NBC, and Amazon. The painful part of this choice was that it limited the WNBA's internal leadership to a supporting role. Silver took the lead and successfully communicated to everyone that the WNBA is now an essential part of the NBA's global media strategy. This suggests more national TV games, better production quality, and a change from the league's prior niche sport vibe. The corporate apparatus of the NBA is now keeping a close eye on the league. These days, every technical foul, controversial tweet, and locker room argument is addressed with the same vigor as a LeBron James or Steph Curry story, even though the financial influx is a blessing for the players' future earnings. The league has expanded into a more expansive community. The new professional standard is a high-stakes commercial asset because Silver has made it clear that anyone who does not embrace it will fall behind. One of the most obvious changes of this new era was the league's sudden demand for charter flights. For years, WNBA players had to endure the challenging realities of commercial travel, including as crowded middle seats, security queue wait tights, and delays. The league consistently cited the cost as an excuse. But as security concerns over Clark's massive audiences began to make news every day, Silver and the board suddenly altered their minds. By authorizing tens of millions of dollars for private travel, they effectively compelled teams to enhance their operations overnight. The smaller market clubs suffered greatly since they weren't prepared for such a significant rise in overhead, even if this was a tremendous win for player health and safety. There were other factors taken into account when making this decision. It was a statement of intent. The WNBA is no longer a second-tier league, Silver said to the Globe. If the league wants to market itself as a top global brand, it must look the part, even if it means spending money they haven't yet earned. Even while this spend it to make it strategy is a common Silver practice, it marks a substantial and risky departure from the norm in women's sports. The most controversial part of this new route, though, is the expedited quick expansion plan. In addition to maintaining the league, Silver wants to double it. With new teams relocating to Portland, Toronto, and Golden State, the league's rapid growth has many worried about the dilution of skill. The sad reality for present players is that the league's competitive balance will be disturbed when their rosters are graded in expansion drafts. This quick growth is closely linked to the desire to capitalize on the Clark era while it's still hot. The league needs more games, more markets, more inventory, and more jerseys to sell. The league was astonished to learn that the policy of cautious and steady expansion had been abandoned the moment Clark's jersey became the best-selling item in professional sports. Because business is changing more quickly than the union can keep up, current participants are worried about what the next collective bargaining agreement will actually look like. The league's internal culture has also been impacted by the administration's handling of the purported rivalry and jealousy narratives. The WNBA used to place a strong emphasis on sisterhood and unity, but Silver's team has realized that controversy sells. To profit from the competition between Clark and other notable rookies like Angel Reese has been a drastic departure from the league's traditional marketing approach. In an effort to boost social media engagement and ticket sales, the league is now highlighting the conflict rather than downplaying it. Due to the WNBA's marketing being NBA ISSUED, there is a great deal of internal strife. Players believe that the league's newest star is using them as villains to advance his hero story. However, the results are undeniable. The league has never witnessed this degree of engagement, and Silver's bet on conflict-driven marketing is paying off in ways that no one could have predicted even 2 years ago. As the latest round of decisions draws to a close, the Commissioner's office has issued a clear declaration. The WNBA is no longer a development project. In this high-stakes profession, the old rules of earning your stripes have been replaced by the brutal realities of market worth. Adam Silver's intervention has essentially caused the league to mature by 10 years in only one season. Furthermore, despite the obvious growing pains, the potential advantages are considerable. At this crucial point, every decision the league makes about Caitlin Clark represents the future of the sport. There's no going back. The difficult decisions being taken now are laying the groundwork for a league that may eventually have cultural power comparable to that of the NBA, regardless of whether you love the new direction or yearn for the days of a more cohesive society. And that journey started as soon as Silver decided to do everything in his power to protect his most valuable asset. The world is watching more than ever, which is the only number that matters in the sports industry, even though the players are frustrated and the league is shocked. Long-term effects will result from these initiatives, especially since the next generation of players sees the WNBA as a realistic and profitable career path rather than a pipe dream. There will be no end in sight to the struggle between the younger generation and the old guard. If anything, the league's decision-making process will get harsher as the stakes increase. Everyone in the basketball world needs to play the hand that has been dealt to them now that Silver has placed his bets. It's unclear if the league will be able to maintain its integrity while aiming for the lofty goals that have been set for it. One thing is for sure. The WNBA we knew a year ago has been replaced with a fast-paced, highly dramatic, and incredibly lucrative version of the game that is just getting started. To ensure that the Caitlin Clark era never ends, we wonder how far the commissioner is willing to go. Because the actions that shock the league today are likely only the beginning of a far larger change that will revolutionize women's sports globally. The change in officiating alone has caused upheavals in locker rooms. Imagine learning overnight that, after 10 years of playing a physically demanding type of basketball, breathing on rookie fouls is now the standard. Silver gave precise directions. Protect the shooter. This was sparked by her. But Clark wasn't the only focus. The league office concluded that wrestling matches are not watched by casual spectators. They keep an eye out for logo threes and quick transitions. By tightening the whistle, Silver successfully forced the WNBA to adopt the NBA's offensive-friendly philosophy. This move was described as cruel by coaches who have built their entire defensive identity around physicality. They had to give up years of strategy in a matter of weeks. The new regulations were as stunning as the league's quick implementation of them. Referees who adhered to the new wide-open style were rewarded with prime-time assignments, while those who didn't were subject to severe criticism. As a result, the gamers developed paranoia. Because they believed they couldn't touch Clark without raising an alarm, the league was accused of being rigged for its new star. The league, however, considered it a crucial advancement. A player who can lift up from 40 feet shouldn't be trapped in a clinch for 40 minutes. You want her to be free to share the highlights that gain popularity on social media. This viral economy is financed by Silver. He knows that every time Clark makes a stunning shot, the league's value rises by several $1 million. But the cost of that growth is the alienation of the league's defensive specialists, who now feel like relics from a bygone age. The NBA was prioritizing entertainment value over fundamental basketball skills, according to the leaked internal papers. Many saw this to be the ultimate violation of the WNBA's principles. It was always about being difficult and earning every basket. These days, some people think it's a one-person act on stage. But those who attend for the first time don't care about the past. They value the show. They want to take part in the occasion. Silver is also making sure that the occasion is as exciting and flawless as possible. Because of this peculiar situation, the best defenders in the league are now truly afraid to carry out their jobs. They know that a harsh foul on Clark will result in more than just a free throw. A week-long media cycle will depict them as the antagonist. Psychological pressure is part of the hard decision-making process. Without ever having to legally change the rules, the league is using this kind of soft power to alter the product. It has to do with believing that the stars are untouchable. In the NBA, mastering this took decades. It occurs in real time during a single WNBA season between the Jordan and LeBron eras. The system is completely taken aback. Every element of scouting reports is being re-evaluated by teams. Do you still try to play physical defense, or are you just trying to outscore the opposition? The latter is becoming more and more the solution. This shift away from high-scoring games was particularly desired by the TV partners. They needed a product that looked like the modern NBA, and Silver delivered. There are significant financial implications to this. As revenue rises, the salary cap will ultimately ache. The guys who are currently complaining may end up with $20 million contracts in 5 years. However, their reputation and playing style are currently uneasy with the adjustment. The people that are suffering are the veterans. They are being told to give way to the modern era. Furthermore, the league office's response to this modification has been everything than courteous. On the sand, several distinct lines have been drawn. Either you support the new vision or you stand in its way. As Silver's group has demonstrated. The players and the front office used to work together considerably more in the WNBA. Therefore, this kind of top-down administration is novel. That collegial attitude has been replaced by a business hurry. There is a perception that the league cannot afford to waste its little window of opportunity on sentimentality. This explains why the Clark decision came as a complete surprise. It signaled the end of the WNBA as a small, player-driven league and the start of the WNBA as a significant influence in global media. The impact of this shift is being felt every place in the basketball world. International talent looking to join the Clark phenomenon is increasingly drawn to the WNBA, and international leagues are taking notice. Clark is also under a great deal of stress. She is more than just a player, she is the hub of a whole industry. Every decision the league makes about her is scrutinized for bias. And everything she does is scrutinized. Silver, however, has not faltered in the face of it. He understands that, in the end, history will judge this period according to its progress rather than the wounded feelings of the players who lived before the boom. The ugly truth is that professional sports are a business first and a game second. For the first time in its existence, the WNBA is being run like a high-stakes business, and the results are shocking and undeniable. The league was made possible by an Iowa rookie and a cool-headed commissioner. No one could have predicted how bright the future would be. The stakes are larger and the game moves more quickly. The questions only get more urgent as time goes on, despite the fact that the process was replete with decisions that shook the sports world. How will the league handle the next big star? Will they receive the same level of protection and promotion, or is this a one-time experiment created specifically for Clark? The rivals in the league are closely monitoring the team's evolving internal dynamics. But one thing is clear. The WNBA has given up on attempting to catch up. It's setting the pace. Once the initial shock has passed, a new reality has developed where today's difficult decisions will become the standard. The league made the required steps.